funny stories I ever heard was of the man who took a shortcut home one night, wheeling through the graveyard. Unknown to him, a new grave had been dug in the path which he was to take. He fell into a deep grave and tried with all his might to come out. He couldn't. He gave up and sat at the corner of the grave, hoping that the following morning the grave diggers didn't discover him. Not long after him, another man who did the same thing fell into the same grave into which he had fallen, and as much as he also tried, he could not come out. But from a corner of the grave, he heard a guttural voice from the man who spoke, "You can't get out." That second man got out. Not only did he get out, he got home. Maybe some of us do not have enough to shock us out of our comfort, out of our comfort zone. That is why we accept the state in which we find ourselves. When people give excuses for failure, they stay immature. Maturity is not a product of age, but the ability to handle responsibilities. People give excuses because they think they are already disqualified in life by the present failure. As is often the case, failure is an event, not a person. An attitude, not an outcome. An occasion, not eternity. Failure is not final, and the failure is totally fatal. After all, God never created you to be a failure. Since his original intention was your success, there is hope. And God saw everything that he had meant, and behold, it was good. It was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Genesis 1:31. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee, have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. Luke 14:19-20. Indeed, this parable shows us that the people concept as to what they were going to say to the one who had invited them to a prepared blessing. The interesting thing about failing is that if you do not make up your mind to come out of that whirlpool, you go through the motion of looking for people who have your weakness and who agree with your concluding about life in that particular area. Business excuses. You and I can recount a good number of well-meaning young men and women who today are hiding behind their weaknesses as the reason for their failure in life. And they all with one consent began to make excuse. The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must need go and see it. I pray thee have me excused. People fail because they give business excuses, particularly if they are not really called to run a business and they are running a business. I usually would like to say, you have no business doing business if you do not know how to run a business. Many do not know the priorities of life. They have no clear management skills for managing their day. If you cannot plan a day, how can you plan a month? If you cannot plan a month, how can you plan a year? If you cannot plan a year, how can you plan a lifetime? The invitation was given a long time, but the man in Luke 14:18 chose the wrong day to go and check the ground and bought. Look at the story closely. It is interesting to also note he was going to check the ground he bought at the supper time. Finance failure. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee, have me excused. Luke 14:19. There are 1,001 reasons one might want to give for financial failure. Some people of our planet will go to bed poor and hungry tonight. 2/3 of the world's nations are in abject poverty. The man in Luke 14:19, and he set himself in motion for financial failure. Why? We know this clearly because he invested without the proof. His story is similar to the man who also experienced a business failure. He bought a lie. He bought without seeing it. Once in a while, that does happen. But to be sold a lie is the worst thing you can experience. Look at this story hypothetically. The oxen could have not been there. The oxen could have been sickly, or the oxen could have been lesser in value or size. He chose the night. He was invited to supper to go and see the goods he bought. In these days of man, cow diseases and many other diseases, he could have been given only what would destroy his other. Financial failure is a product of several things. Downward investment instead of upward. Financial failures come because of HAABs, that is apps, habits, attitudes, actions, and belief systems. Many mistakes can take a man down. When your outflow is greater than your inflow, you are in for a financial failure. When you do not recognize as a believer what God has given you is in order for you to be a kingdom financier, yourself or want it, the manna will stink. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left of it until the morning, and it burned the worms and the stank. And Moses was wroth with them. It is characteristic. I don't know whether you are all hearing me. Those over there, can you hear me? Okay. In characteristic of wealth, nations to be producer nations, it is also the characteristic of poor nations to be consumer nations. What the nations are in a reflection of what each individual in that nation is in general. Okay, soft river banks And people with, I think is, you can hear. There is a lot of blessing here. And I want to assure you, people graduating during this graduation event are going to be great people in the world. Yes. And see all this outpour. Okay, I was saying South River banks and people with the I can't help it attitude have a similar condition like those ones of financial failures. They follow the path of least resistance. Such people change all the time like the typical politician in Kenya today. They change as their friends' opinions changes. Though you may call it a mistake, the worst of it all is what it does to you. I want to speak very briefly on the self-esteem and the giving of excuses of succeeding, which may be the most major reason for failure in life, is when people allow a poor self-esteem to stop them making progress. It is hard to move away from how to perceive yourself, and a poor self-perception is the undoing of many people. People have a right to hold opinions of you, whether good or bad. It only affects you when you